Obviously, everybody wants to make money off of this. So if you want to make money, you have to find different ways to do it. And I feel like branding yourself is one of the best ways because there's so many different ways or so many different avenues you can go once you have an established brand and things like that. I go by the name of JT Runnin Man. You know, I'm an artist, I'm a rapper. I also consider myself like a entrepreneur. As far as Factory Ltd is concerned, I am the co-owner / GM here, general manager. So I kind of got a lot of things going for me, but people know me for a lot of different things. So. Factory Ltd is Colorado's #1 print and embroidery shop. So basically we're a manufacturing company and we make merchandise from like clothing and garments all the way to promotional products and branding products as well. But basically we're a local manufacturer who works a lot with different types of brands and businesses to kind of, you know, brand themselves and reach new goals and stuff like that. So I feel like deadlines and production time are some of the biggest challenges that you always have to face. And I feel like that's with any manufacturing company, just because people need things by certain times, but obviously things take time to get done. So sometimes it doesn't always line up correctly. Another big challenge I would say is the process, the actual process, and kind of walking people through it. Because a big thing about Factory Ltd is we kind of start with companies from the ground up. So a lot of times people don't know a lot about branding or building a brand or kind of what steps to take, or even just as rudimentary as like screen printing or embroidery, kind of just don't know what it takes to get that done. So sometimes walking people through the process, helping them reach that goal, because they're not always ready to take that journey, you know, at that time, because they don't know everything that it entails. So sometimes explaining that process and going through that process with the client is sometimes a little difficult, but it's always worth it at the end. Factory Ltd kind of came about from my partner, Fidel. So a lot of people have heard of Favor by Rome. You know, a lot of people have been involved with Favor by Rome, the clothing store, and what has gone on there. And he is the owner of Favor by Rome and also the other owner of Factory Ltd. So he's been in the clothing game for a long time. He had a storefront where we were running clothes out of there, and we had been going around to different manufacturers to kind of get things made, like a lot of other clothing lines do. But we felt like we were kind of getting the runaround and weren't getting the best treatment from certain screen print companies. And so with COVID-19 kind of hitting, kind of had forced us to close the doors at Favor by Rome, which kind of allowed us to step into the manufacturing game because we already knew so much about it from just dealing with different companies. We were like, well, you know, why continue to outsource and go different places when we could try to do it ourselves? And so that was kind of when I came along and learned the entire process of like what it takes to get things done. And then from there, we kind of just tag teamed it from both angles. I already kind of had a little bit of popularity just from making music and kind of being I wouldn't say a celebrity, but like an influencer or something like that. I wouldn't even know what to call it, but people know who I am. So it was easy for us to reach out. And also at the same time with COVID-19 happening, a lot of new businesses were popping up. So a lot of people needed help with branding and marketing. We already kind of had years of experience with that. So it was time to start selling that knowledge, basically. And so we kind of turned it into this. And now, like I said, we're Colorado's #1 print shop. And we make a merch for pretty much, like, I want to say like 95% of the artists and creatives out here. And then we make merch for like a lot of people's favorite bars and dispensaries and things like that they don't even know about. We work a lot with a lot of different companies in Colorado, and that all just started from the ground up, basically, just with a little bit of ambition and saying, hey, we don't want to go to these guys anymore, let's just do it ourselves. Since the beginning, things have definitely gotten bigger than I expected, and that's obviously a great thing. And now it's become like, instead of like a hobby, it's turned more into a career type of thing. So that works out a lot. I would say that it's the most important thing for an artist is to brand themselves, because obviously at the end of the day, besides your music, you have to have something that you can market and something that you can sell. And so, especially if you, at the end, obviously everybody wants to make money off of this. So if you want to make money, you have to find different ways to do it. And I feel like branding yourself is one of the best ways, because there's so many different ways or so many different avenues you can go once you have an established brand and things like that. What are some ways to get started? I would say do a lot of brainstorming, obviously figure out something that means a lot to you, but you think that also represent what you're trying to do pretty well. Come up with the logo, something that you think is going to be kind of like a staple, something that you yourself could see everywhere. You know what I mean? That's the advice that I would give to somebody. And then do a lot of research. I would say do research on kind of, I don't know necessarily if it would be like doing research on building a brand, but doing research on whatever your lane is, so that you can figure out kind of how to market yourself in your own lane. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of people think once they build a brand, they can just put out t-shirts or something like that and start selling t-shirts. But not every time t-shirts might not always sell for what you're trying to do. So I would do research on your market, on your demographic, figure out what you're actually trying to do with what your brand is, and then go from there. But obviously the best way to start is to come talk to me.